Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Chan. I'm the founder and CEO of DocPro. I'm here to talk about the unbundling of legal services. I've been a lawyer for the past 20 years, and there has been very little change in legal industry. Law firms are all after the same big clients. The big banks and international companies all have in-house lawyers with a large legal budget, so that the people getting proper legal advice. SMEs, on the other hand, have on average 8 to 13 legal issues a year, but are largely ignored because they don't have the legal budget. Recent survey by the UK Law Society has shown, most law firms, they have legal issues such as trading, which accounts for 38%, tax 22%, employees 15%, IP 9%. So these are the common legal issues of small businesses, and they don't have any in-house capacity. 87% of them don't have in-house lawyers, or the founder is not a lawyer. So more than half would try to resolve issues on their own despite they don't have any legal capacity, or they are just willing to take the risk without any resolution or legal advice until, of course, things get blown up. Most small businesses would go to law firms as a last resort, and only 1 in 10 would go to a lawyer when they first encounter legal issues. They might go to lawyers only when it's too late. And the funny thing is, more small businesses, they would rather go to an accountant than a lawyer for legal advice on legal issues. So what is the reason for this? Well, it is very obvious, and you guess it. The number one reason is costs, right? Because lawyers, they have a notorious reputation of billing by 6 minutes block. And most small businesses are afraid to go to lawyers with legal issues because of costs. 75% of the respondents say they are influenced by costs, and only 13% believe legal services is being cost effective. Most small businesses find it difficult to find a suitable legal service provider they can afford. This suggests that people are either ambivalent or have not tried to assess legal services at all. Another reason is customer satisfaction, right? The customer satisfaction is very low for most legal services. Even though 80% of lawyers believe that they're delivering above average legal advice, which doesn't make sense because the average should be 50%, right? But 80% of lawyers believe they do. And only 40% of the clients agree. And the top complaints by customers is the failure to advise, which is 18%. The vast majority of dissatisfied customers would just take their business elsewhere. And that is why we started DocPro, one of the fastest growing next generation legal platform in the world. We try to provide quality and accessible legal solutions to businesses and individuals through cutting edge technology. And our vision is to provide accessible legal solutions for everyone. So our mission is to create the best legal tech platform where everybody can find and customize quality legal solutions at an affordable price. So how do we do that? We have already started the first step by creating DocPro.com, which is a platform for legal document generation that can help you to generate and create automated documents and contracts easily and quickly for just a few dollars. We have about 100,000 users per month. We'll be introducing other unbundled legal services, such as providing legal advice at a transparent fixed price. So watch this space. So I just mentioned the word unbundle. What does the unbundling of legal services mean? Well, it means that legal service providers and clients agree to share the legal work between them. So it's also known as the limited scope retainers for lawyers. So it involved splitting the usual package of legal work into discrete tasks. So instead of signing a full retainer with lawyers to do everything involved in that legal matter, the client retains the lawyer just to perform certain legal tasks and maintain the responsibility for the remainder. So, for example, like for lower value work that doesn't require legal expertise, the client can either do it themselves or retain a paralegal to do it, or get a trademark agent or someone else to do it instead of getting the expensive lawyer to do the whole thing. And the lawyer can focus on the high value legal advice. So as we have gone through before, right, this would help in several aspects, which the number one is obviously cost, right? So the number one factors we mentioned before why small businesses are not going to law firms or lawyers for legal advice when they encounter legal issues is the cost. So if we have a way for them to save money, so long as they have clarity and certainty on the scope of the legal retainer and what they need the lawyer to do, then they can minimize the cost of the legal services. And that would also allow for price transparency because you're breaking individual items down, right? Rather than getting lawyer to do the whole thing in one lump sum. And you're making legal services more accessible. The other thing is the unbundling would also increase customer service satisfaction rate. So legal service providers and customers sharing legal work between them have very positive satisfaction rate, up to 81% customer satisfaction, and obviously lower cost for the clients. So this satisfaction rate is similar or even higher than a full retainer with a law firm. And the third advantage of unbundling of legal services is the clients would have more control on the matter. For example, right, some clients, they don't like to involve lawyers in their negotiations. As we all know, right, lawyers are very harsh people. They tend to include very harsh terms that are not commercial for the other side. And sometimes, uh, that might result in a breakdown of negotiation or even the relationship between the two sides. So unbundling of legal services would allow the clients to retain a certain degree of control and manage its own commercial or legal risks, right? So long as the lawyer told them what the risks are, the client can decide, well, I want to take this risk, and then we'll proceed with the transaction. So on the legal services that we unbundle through service providers, there are no standard unbundling process because different lawyers have different tasks and different clients have different needs. But the simplest task to unbundle is obviously document creation. You can DIY your own documents. As we can see, for us at DocPro, we charge a few dollars for creating your own legal documents. So does our competitor Wonder Legal and Seagull, well, they charge a little bit more. I'm happy to say we are the lowest price document creator in town. For legal advice, we are also working on a platform where lawyers can provide preliminary advice, or if you need a second opinion, for a fixed fee. Some common advice that can be provided through this platform are like evaluating your analysis on your case, advising about your legal responsibilities and rights, advising on court procedures, advising on other dispute resolution options. For example, if you're a trading company and you're trading with someone overseas, right? It's most of the time it's actually better to go through arbitration than going through court, because most of the time it's very hard to enforce a foreign judgment, even if you win the case in court. And the legal advice can also suggest documents to prepare. If you have no idea what documents you need, the lawyer can suggest some documents, then you can go DocPro or Wonder Legal or Seagull to create the documents. And the last bits that can be unbundled are specific tasks, right? So you could get your legal service provider to provide fixed and transparent pricing similar to the Upwork model. Where there's actually another service provider called UpCounsel, which is sort of like the Upwork for lawyers. And there's also, or there was also Avo, which provide fixed price for certain legal tasks. So this would, basically the clients could do the lower value works, and where the tasks need to be done by lawyers, they can try and get a fixed fee quote to do those legal tasks. So some specific tasks that clients may hire lawyer to do would include like drafting and reviewing documents, conducting investigations, giving reference to as an appropriate expert, performing legal research, evaluating on settlement options, planning for negotiations, providing for standby assistance with negotiation, or if you have to appear in court, planning for court appearance, coaching you, or appearing in court, or assist with an appeal. And also, obviously, IP works are very specific, so they're perfect for specific tasks, like trademark registration, copyright, patent application, for example. As to the market size, right? If you look at the big picture, right, the overall legal market is huge at $727 billion. And LegalTech is at 16 billion, which is still quite big, is growing rapidly. But if you just look at the portion as a percentage of the overall legal market, is just 2.2%. So the legal industry is moving really slowly when compared with things like retail, right? Where Amazon and Alibaba are dominating the market, and the traditional retailers are going out of business. Where in the legal tech place, the legal tech companies are going out of business, and the traditional law firms are still going strong, which is very different. In addition, unbundling would actually create a bigger pie, because we are encouraging small businesses who would not otherwise use legal services to go to lawyers. So this would actually create a bigger pie, maybe up to $1 trillion. If you remember from survey, right, 9 out of 10 small businesses, they don't go to lawyers when they have an illegal issue. So if you can make going to lawyers affordable and transparent with fixed pricing, that means a lot of those 9 out of 10 people, a lot of them will come back to lawyers for legal advice, and you could potentially create a bigger pie of a $1 trillion legal market. As I have mentioned, that unbundling is not a new concept, right? Some players have been around for over 20 years, but there's no dominant global player or household name. For example, right, I'm sure many of you wouldn't have heard of most of the legal tech players on the slide. and most of them are regional and niche players. As I've mentioned before, right, legal tech is actually a bad business to get into, right? A lot of legal tech companies have gone bust in the past 20 years. In just the past year, in 2020, right, Ross Intelligence closed a legal research platform after being sued by Thomson Reuters. And Twitch founder Justin Kan, who's famous for raising $1 billion, started this legal tech startup called Atrium and raised $75 million. And they're shutting it down and giving the money back to the investors because they couldn't find any way to make profit from a legal tech. So it's not that they're running out of money, they just can't think of the right business model. UpCounsel, the legal tech company I mentioned before, they were going to shut down last year, and they narrowly averted it by selling their lawyer marketplace to LinkedIn. Avo, which is another legal marketplace with fixed fee, they did a little bit better. They got purchased by Interbrand, but they have to shut down their fixed fee legal services because they were getting sued by different law societies for fee sharing, which we will go into later. So why is it so difficult to run a legal tech company? Well, as we have mentioned, right, there are many restrictions in the legal industry. First, legal advice must be given by lawyers. So legal tech companies cannot provide legal advice. So it's a gray area. Some legal tech companies do try and, do something with it by, for example, like they hire paralegals who are not qualified to draft legal documents for people, which strictly speaking should not be allowed because that is in a sense giving legal advice. And for fee sharing, most jurisdictions, they have prohibition against fee sharings with non-lawyers. So it makes it difficult for legal tech companies to get a bigger slice of the pie. So if you remember that $700 billion market, most of the revenues are generated by law firms with high billable hours, like a few $1,000s an hour. And so if you don't allow for fee sharing, that means legal tech companies can only charge a nominal IT fees, and it's just very difficult for them to make a profit in that case. Avo and UpCounsel both got sued for fee sharing because they tried to go for that biggest piece of the pie, and then they got sued by the law societies in various US states. The other issue is law is very jurisdiction specific, so it's very hard to scale. So focusing on a single market tends to be too small for legal tech companies, with the exception of the US. So that's why most of the legal tech companies are based in the US. So if you look at the slide, right, you see, half of the world legal tech companies are based in the US because US has the biggest legal market. Don't get me wrong, right? We are not disheartened because of the difficulty. It's still a very exciting time for clients of legal services and provider of legal services. Well, the industry, as we all know, is facing very unprecedented change because of COVID, right? Everybody is going online. So companies are actually seeking out innovation in the way they procure, use, and interact with providers of legal services. So both online providers and law firms. So businesses can go to an online legal service provider for a preliminary assessment before deciding what to do. Like if you go and get some preliminary advice for a fixed fee, then you can decide, whether I should retain a lawyer or whether I can do everything myself uh, in-house, or maybe I could use cheaper service provider, such as a paralegal or a trademark agent at a fixed price instead of using lawyers to do everything. In addition, law firms can also limit their scope and attract a new market of clients who might not otherwise hire a lawyer. So this applies both to business clients and individuals, including small businesses and large businesses. So even for big companies, they are looking at unbundling of legal services very closely, because they have got a team of in-house lawyers who can do a lot of things themselves. So as you can see, unbundling is creating a virtuous cycle, because as we offer more low-cost unbundled solutions to attract more users, uh, with more users of legal services, we would attract more law firms to provide unbundled services. And along with improving access to legal services, law firms will be able to grow their business, generate new form of revenue, and also provide better services to their clients. And with technology, right, they are also able to better utilize their downtime. As we all know, right, lawyers are tend to be very busy during the busy period, and then they have some downtime when they're not that busy. And if they can fully utilize those downtime, um, for unbundled services, to provide unbundled services, that means they are actually making a lot of side income, even when they're during off-peak seasons. And the value unbundling brings to law firms, to users, obviously, are to save costs and save time, and they have better control of the matters, without attracting unnecessary risks. They can customize their legal solutions with more control and management. For law firms, they are partners and not competitors. By attracting small businesses back to the legal market, we're making the pie bigger, and we're providing a blue ocean markets of small businesses to law firms. Plus, they are also limiting their liability, because they're only doing part of the solution. They don't have to do the full retainer. So that might be a benefit for them as well, because they're probably less risk involved in providing in providing unbundled solutions than a full solution. For legal tech company, we can scale our costs and lower them without hiring teams of lawyers. And with the ever increasing technology on automation and document assembly, there are many ways to provide unbundled legal services to new and existing clients. Obviously, we can't share fees with law firms, but I think we can, with efficiency, we can still maintain healthy margins. Well, let me say this just to close, right? What would the world be like if everyone can find the perfect legal solutions at their fingertip without having to worry about the higher legal costs? And that is where unbundling would come in, right? On the supply side, as I was saying, we are making a bigger pie with the reach of law firms extended, because uh, they can systemize the entire process and offer limited legal services for fixed fee to more clients, and that would not necessarily sacrifice their profit margins. Actually, they might even be able to make more because they would have more efficient use of their non-peak times. So thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions. If you, well, obviously, if you have some questions in private, do feel free to email me as well. And if you need a legal document, feel free to go to docpro.com. And if you need legal advice, do at a fixed price, watch the spaces. We'll be launching a new platform to provide fixed price, transparent legal advice. Thank you very much.